Welcome to Training You to Succeed Live. I am super excited to have you guys here with me on a Saturday morning. Whenever you come in, just go ahead and tell me where you are from. Like, where are you from? Give me an idea of what age group you work with, the name of your school. I do have some teachers that wanted me to drop when we're going live. So I am going to go ahead and let people know that we are live. All right, so again, if you are here with me live, go ahead and drop in the comments your name, what school you're from, what age group you work with, and I'm just going to give everybody a couple of seconds to get on, and we are going to dive into our Saturday hot topic. Guys, I'm here with my coffee, and I'm going to give you guys a rough tour of the office, even though me and my new assistant, my right hand person, my executive administrator, who is absolutely amazing. We've been here for the last 3 days holding a workshop for entrepreneurs. And so, guys, your turn is coming up. I'm going to talk to you guys about some amazing things that Training You to Succeed is going to be doing in addition to the live hot topics. And our company, if you don't know about Training to Succeed, I started in 2005 with a passion to help teachers because I did not have anyone to help me in my classroom. So many of you know I started off as a 3-year-old teacher, and I was put in the classroom, and like I had no support and no help, and I had to just figure things out. And then all of a sudden people started to come to me and ask me, like, how were you able to get these 3-year-olds under control? At the time, I had 18 3-year-olds. I had been there for like 6 months and went through several assistant teachers. And by the time I found a really good assistant teacher that I could jam with, we had 33-year-olds in our classroom. And so that was a lot, but our classroom management was there. I was able to put them on a structured schedule. Meanwhile, our curriculum did change, and we went to use a Reggio philosophy curriculum. I dove deep into that. I learned every component, went in there and implemented it in my classroom. So when corporate actually came to my school, they were like, wow, what did you do? Because they didn't even know the curriculum well themselves. And so they wanted me to begin training other teachers. Meanwhile, I was working part-time at a teacher supply store, and I would have teachers come in and I would show them different things around the store. And finally, I was like, you know what? I really could start training. I really could start doing workshops and different things like that. And my aunt, Carolyn, who I'm named after, told me, like, hey, you could do this. And after she passed away, I did not want to disappoint her. So me and my cousin, which is her daughter, she was like my mom, we sat down and we're like, we need to do training for teachers. Teachers need help. We need to do workshops. And unfortunately, she had an illness, kidney failure, and so she wasn't able to do some of the trainings and some of the workshops with me. So like everything kind of fell on me organizing and put together. And because I was working as a preschool teacher, I knew everything that they needed, because I was making things for my classroom. I was doing that. So why not show that to many other teachers? So I actually dived into it and we sat around and we thought, man, my aunt really inspired me to do Training You to Succeed. And I said, we're going to name the company after her, and I used to call her Toots. And so Toots was her name, and I Aunt Carolyn, instead of calling her Aunt Carolyn, of course, I would call her Toots. And so we knew that we wanted to use her name. And so I said, and I went, and I was like thinking, it's like Toots T, we're going to be doing training. And that is how we brainstormed and came up with Training the Letter U to Succeed. And in everything that I do, I want to make sure that teachers succeed in a classroom because I know what it's like to deal with a child with a behavior problem. I know what it's like to not have a supportive director. I know what it's like to have a co-teacher that doesn't do anything but twirl her hair. I know what it's like to deal with difficult parents and to deal with just so many different situations in early education and also public education because I had the opportunity to work in public school as well. Public school is not my cup of tea. Early education is. So that's where I found my jam at. Along the way, I was asked to, move up within the company. I became what is called a lead training teacher. So I got to train different early childhood. Alongside, I still had my company. So I was doing workshops and trainings for the general public on the weekend. As my company started to evolve, I started to really work on my craft. I added different services for early childhood like CPR and first aid. If you guys don't know, I offer CPR and first aid as well. And then after, with that, after CPR and first aid, I offer CDA courses, early childhood expert courses, trade courses like focusing on behavior, these hot topics that we do on the weekends. We also do live workshops and conferences. And this is what Training to Succeed has grown from, all from me and my experience as a 3-year-old teacher. From that, I had the opportunity to work with toddlers. I've had the opportunity to work with infants. I've been in an assistant director role, a director role, a district manager role, a franchisee co-partner, and a owner of a child care center. So my experience in this field has evolved, and I am so excited to be here at this point in my life, at this time, to be able to re-inspire early childhood professionals. Post-COVID, things just got out of control, and children are not the same, teachers are not the same, parents are not the same. We were so used to being at home. Now we have to get up and go to work, and I know it can be so difficult dealing with these different situations that you're dealing with. Kids that can't pay attention, that are used to staying at home, and then you have parents that are at home and they are detached from their children's growth and development, which makes it very difficult for a teacher. If you just came onto the live, I'm just getting started. Go ahead and comment. Let me know your name, what state you're from, what school you're from, and then we can go dive deep into it. Hold on one second. All right, so we can dive deep into it. So that is my experience in early education, and that is why I'm so passionate about all the things that we have to come. We are going to get into Infants Can Learn Too in our training today, and we're going to also touch a little bit on literacy and the importance of literacy in an early childhood classroom. But as promised, I am going to give you guys a quick overview in just a second of our office and let you know some of the upcoming things that we have available. The reason why I am wearing our boot camp shirt is because we're about to launch our preschool boot camp, which is a 3-day boot camp. That is, anyone can come into the boot camp for free, but if you want to get your certification for training or your certificate for training, there is a VIP enlisting, what we call a sergeant upgrade, for you to upgrade and get the workbooks and to also get access to our Q&A community as well as our certificate at the end. But in order for you to watch the training and have that access, it is going to be absolutely free. You will be able to go on and you will have 24 hours to watch the video before they go away. If you're an enlistee, if you're a VIP, you can watch the playback at any time. And so we are getting ready for that boot camp that is going to cover a wide range of topics. I'm going to have different ECE experts on talking about behavior, talking about standards in childcare, talking about curriculum, potty training, you name it, in our boot camp. And so watch our page for that advertising, because we're going to start enlisting during the first week of June. And our big virtual 3-day conference is going to be 3 days in July. So make sure that you stay tuned and get that information. Now, diving into the tour of our office. So I am going to kind of loosen up my camera a little bit to kind of show you guys around so that you can kind of see what's going on. So behind me, you will see the setup that you normally see on the lives, but you guys, I can film from different places inside of the office. So I really wanted to set this thing up so that you guys can have different views and I can do different things here and show off different components. You usually see me sitting, and you usually see me talking on my bling microphone that I normally speak on. But the camera view that I actually have right now is like closer up, so you don't get to see the view. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let's see here how we're gonna do this. All right, so this is a section behind me, so I'm going to kind of move it around. All right, so let's zoom out. All right, so over here in this section right here, I have like all of my materials for my workshops, like my paper, my printing. I have binders with activities in there. You have something that is going to go on the wall, and it talks about sparkle, so I'm going to put that right there. This is my bookshelves, and you guys see the dolls that I actually purchased from Target, actually. And then I keep all my materials on here at the bottom, these little containers. You'll see, like, I have some on the floor that I have different things that I use for my technology in there. Over here, you'll see my nice couch that I have. The couch is actually for a podcast that I'm actually hosting. This pole that you see in the way is what my camera is actually on. You'll see like the chandelier lamps over here. Let me see if I can refocus. Over here. You'll see my Barbie shirt that Mom Danielle got me. This TV here is actually going to have different presentations on the back of it. It just gives me a different setting for the podcast, and you'll see my little top right there where I can put my microphone and have my microphone already. You guys, if you don't know, we have a podcast that is going to be airing soon, and it's called The Green Light. It is not an early childhood podcast. It is talking about family. It's talking about like real life things, relationships. It's talking about money, all the things that happen in life. And if you're a parent, or if you are a business owner and working in childcare, this would be just for you. All right. And so this right here is my planning area. This is where I plan out the workshops and my dry erase board. That card is from a conference that I actually had the opportunity of doing. So I'm just coming off of that. And so I still haven't unpacked that in that area. But you guys will see me working over there on the whiteboard sometime. So I'm going to come back this way, and then I'm going to swing around the other way. Okay, so this corner right here, we haven't really set up yet. That is where our t-shirts are going to be. We have some really cool t-shirts. I'm going to get up, and then I'm going to come around so that you guys I can actually hold the camera. And you guys can see. Okay, there we go. All right, so those are some of our t-shirts from our t-shirt collection. some shoes that I had on in this shoot that we have. And then I have some other pictures over there in the corner that I rotate out, just like you would have artwork in your classroom. That's one of my lights that I use. This right here is my vision area, and then the t-shirts that I have going on. I'm still trying to put stuff away in this area. This is where I do my money shots from when I talk about, making money, profits. That's my big colorful dollar bill. Of course, my office is interchangeable, so I have to move it around as I'm doing things. That is my infamous Barbie collection, naturalistic Barbies. And then I have this cassette tape where it is saying, pause, but don't stop. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock this in place, but then I am going to move my wardrobe rack. All right, so that you guys can see. I do have a little music station, and I have all of these records that are on the wall. Some of them are custom made from this cool place in Chicago that actually takes real albums and cut them. So I have Prince, I have Aerosmith, I have Bob Marley, and then I have this teacher one, an Apple one in the middle, and that is a Capricorn one. And then of course, I keep a full wardrobe. Many of you guys know that I also own a boutique, so I do like different shots. Move this back over. Different shots in here. And then over here, I have a sitting area where I do film in this area as well. And you'll see that it's set up that way. And then that is back to me. And then usually this computer is on that I work, so I kind of rotate. And that you see back there is my boom arm. It's where I adjust my microphone. And sometimes have my microphone set up. So for you guys who wanted to see the office, that is a quick tour. We're still working on it, right? We're still putting things in, but the studio is actually set up. We actually have the wiring. We actually have the camera system set up. We have our microphone. We have our lighting. I should turn on the lighting because the lights will go off on us in here because of the way it's set up, and then you guys will get a different mood. So I'm going to put that on as well. All right, so that is our office. So comments on our office. What do you think? We have our music area. I do have a shelf that we have for our library. We have our writing and our printing area with our glasses. We do have our dress up area where I change different wardrobes, and we are we have like our t-shirts and different things like that. Guys, our t-shirts, every t-shirt that I wear on our live is in our t-shirt collection. Then I have our podcast section over here where we are going to be filming our new podcast called The Green Light. And then I have, all my resources that I use for my make and takes whenever I am doing trainings and different things like that. So that is our office. That's our office. And I am so excited to share that with you guys this Saturday morning. And let's get into it. And so infants can learn too. I know all you think that infants do is eat, sleep, cry, poop. How many infant teachers do I have out there? How many infant teachers do that are there? If you're watching this on a playback, hashtag playback, infant teacher. Infant teachers are the most neglected teachers when it comes to training. And I realized that a long time ago whenever I was taken from being a preschool teacher, putting in an infant room. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to teach them? All you're doing is feeding them all day. All you're doing is changing them. And then they want to sleep. Eat, sleep, cry, and poop. I mean, that is just their cycle. So it led me to believe, like, how am I supposed to do an activity? How am I supposed to do a lesson plan? How am I supposed to plan my day around an infant that all of them on different schedules want to eat? They be crying. They need to poop. And they're asleep. So whenever I was making a schedule, I couldn't do from 8 to 9, I did this. From 10 to 11, I did this. It's from 12. I had a general day of when I would take them outside. I had my time posted of when they went outside in the afternoon, when I would try to do our group or our circle time. But that was usually when I worked with the older infants, like older infants, toddlers. I had them on a structured schedule. But for my younger infants, 0 to 9 months, 0 to 12 months, or even sometimes 0 to 6 months, it was really difficult to get them on a routine. They had their own schedule, and it took me at least 6 months to transition them all to try to eat at the same time. So depending on what age group they were in, they went through a transition phase where I was transitioning them to one nap, transitioning them to eating on breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. And so I had a whole transition plan once they hit that 9-month range, because I can have from 9 to 12 months to really train them on a schedule. Then from 12 months, I knew that they were going to move to the infant toddler classroom, and they had to be on that schedule. So I had my kids, as soon as they hit 9 months, I sent home a letter saying, hey, we're going to be starting a transition. We're going to be transitioning to eating on this schedule, and we're going to be transitioning to one nap. And so slowly I would try to keep the infants up and then, get them 2 naps. And then I would slowly start moving them to one nap. So that transition, I worked with my parents starting at 9 months. That way they had from 9 to 12 months to get on the one nap schedule, so that when they moved to the toddler classroom, they wouldn't be confused and groggy and lost and didn't know what was going on. So first I did that as an infant teacher. My main thing as an infant teacher is that they all had individual schedules. We gave them infant care plans, and most states it was required for you to have an infant plan to tell you when they're supposed to be fed, how often they're supposed to be fed, just like things that, quirks and things about them. Do they have to be burped after 3 ounces? Are they ready for table food? Are they not ready? Are they eating baby food? Are they eating first stage, second stage? And so whenever we're taking all of this into consideration, most infant parents want to know that their child is happy, fed, and clean. They don't really dive deep into the brain development and the early learning. In the infant room, they really don't get into that way. What they do is they gauge their infant care based on when they pick them up. Is their child crying? Are they dirty? Did they eat? Did they get changed on time? How did you care for them? So infant care is really important. But most infant teachers are nurturing. They're loving. They make sure that baby is clean. They make sure that they're taken care of. You know your infant teachers. They're like so nice and sweet and plushy. They're humble. They love the infant room. But there's another piece to the puzzle: brain development and creating routines in these infants so that they are prepared for the infant room. When we talk about infant language development, infants can understand and hear things way before they can speak. So whatever you're saying in your environment, just because the infants are not talking back to you or really responding from you, their brain is downloading everything that you're saying, and it's getting their language ready for them to be able to speak words out of their mouth. The reason why children can't speak as of yet is because the fine motor skills in their mouth is not wired properly quite yet for them to be able to say what you are saying. But they can follow directions. They can understand. They know what you're saying to them. They can follow commands. And so you can say, hey, go get me that cup. And they'll get up and go and get that cup. But they may not be able to say cup or get up or go, but they can understand these commands. And this comes through brain development, being wired to understand before we're able to speak it. So in your infant classroom with the communication piece, I had a part on my lesson plan. And mind you, I did individual lesson plannings for my infants. I did not do one lesson plan because it depends on where that infant is. If you have 5 infants, 4 infants in a room, each one of them deserves their own lesson plan and what things you're going to work on developmentally. So of course I had my communication and language part of my lesson plans. We called it Babbles to Words. So anytime the teacher had an opportunity to, she would put down what the skill was that she was going to work on. So whether it is getting a child's focus and attention on them when she's talking, to pay attention to her mouth, introduce them to several words. And the timing in which she did it was capturing moments throughout the day. Which means for that infant, you could do that language development activity during diaper change time, during feeding time, when you're soothing them and putting them to sleep, during tummy time. And so it didn't have to be like all the kids had to be doing it at the exact time. Next to that activity, you would put the moment in which you would capture that. So on this lesson planning form, you had the core areas, language development, social development, emotional development, cognitive development, and physical development. That's our spice, social, physical, intellectual, communication, and education. That spice it up. Say it again. Social, physical, intellectual, communication, and emotional. Those are the 5 areas of development. So when it came to communication, we called it Babble to Words. And so then the teacher would have the activity that she wanted to do, and that may be for the next 2 weeks. That's what she's going to focus on in the communication area. And then after that, she would put the moments in which she could capture it. Diaper changing table and feeding time. That may be something that she did every time she went to the diaper changing table. Every time she fed the child, she may have done that Babbles to Word or that communication activity. This is how your infants have to lesson plan. If you're not lesson planning, capturing the moments, then your teacher is going to be like, okay, let me try to get these infants up to do this activity. Let me try to get the infants up to do this activity. Let me try to get the infants up to do these activities. So it is really important that you really teach your infant teachers how to capture the moments in the developmental area. So not just that, when we talked about physical, now a lot of times with physical development, the babies are on the floor at different times of the day. So what are you doing during that tummy time? What are you doing during that outside time? When your infants go outside, they should not just be in a stroller the whole time they go outside. They need to be out of that stroller. You need to get some blankets to go down on your playground. You need to get some soft areas, whatever it needs to be. Your infants need to be able to engage in physical activity outside of the stroller. I see infants on stroller walks all the time. It's like, okay, that's fine, but this is not physical development. What is that stroller walk actually doing? Are you singing to them? Are they just going out there getting fresh air? Is this a language lesson? Be intentional about those moments during the day. If you're going to wake them up to go outside, make sure that they get to move around and do different things. So when you're talking about capturing the moment and you have your physical activity, whether it's gross motor or fine motor, you're going to put what you're going to be working on. And then when that infant is down on the floor or on the playground or outside in your play yard, whatever area you have, you're going to be working on a specific skill, whether it's getting them up and rocking back and forth to get them ready to crawl, whether it is stretching their legs and standing them up. And then you're going to put when you're going to capture that moment during their tummy time and when we're on the playground. Now, when it comes to fine motor development, when can you capture their fine motor development? You usually can catch that at snack time or whenever their feeding time is, when they're in the high chair. You can actually work on that while you're feeding an infant. And then when you're finished and you're burping them and you're sitting up, you may help them work on their fine motor skills. So when you are planning your lesson plans, you need to put on there what moment you're going to actually implement that, and understand that if you put a time on there, that child may or may not be asleep. Now, when it comes to the intellectual and we do the creative expressions or the science experiences, I do put on there that I'm going to attempt at 9 and 11 maybe to do this experiment, because I know that maybe all the infants may be up, or majority of the infants may be up, or I know that that infant is going to be up. So I put the time that I'm going to do that art activity with them, or I'm going to do that science. And I may have two infants on the same schedule, and I know that I'm going to, get them together during that time because they're alert at 9 o'clock and 11. But then I may have little bitty babies that sleep majority of the day, and I notice that this baby doesn't wake up until 11 o'clock. And so I'm going to do their science and sensory and their art activity at 11 o'clock. As my teacher schedule, I know when I have to change, when I have to feed. I know when they're going to be doing their nap. I know their schedules. And that's why it's easy to take their individual schedules and make me a teacher schedule so that I know when to teach them. Guys, you guys have the basic part down. You have the diaper changing and the feeding part. It's how are you going to incorporate that learning, that brain development? Usually between the ages of birth and 5, those are the most critical years. And I say between the birth to 12 months, that is when you're laying that foundation, that language foundation, whether they're going to be able to pay attention. Are you reading them books in your classroom? Are you actually taking the time to have a conversation with them? I always tell infant teachers, you ask a question and you give them space to answer. Good morning, how are you? And you wait. And they may just look at you. That's fine. You say, okay. I'm doing great. And then you ask them another question. Don't answer for them. Or give them a suggestion. Oh, your face looks kind of sad. Are you sad this morning? Are you going to miss your mom? Maybe. Are you happy this morning? Are you going to have so much fun at school? And so you give them space to answer, even though you know that they're not going to say any words. And then you fill in with suggestions, but you don't speak for them. Taking the time to talk to them. I really prefer one infant teacher in the infant classroom, because I find that when there's two infant teachers working in the infant room, they talk to each other. And it's like, who's talking to the babies? Who's working with the infant skills? While you're at the diaper changing table, then some infants should be having some time that they're supposed to be either feeding or doing an activity. Your whole day should be mapped out. And when I changed my infant lesson plans to look like that, when I worked in the infant room, I was happy. From the time that I came in, I knew, okay, I got here at 7 o'clock. I got off at 5 o'clock. And so when I got there at 7 o'clock, the person who was in there before me knew what she was supposed to do from 6 o'clock to 7. When you open my infant room, here's what you do. Here's what you set up. Here's what you're going to put out for the day. I left those notes in my communication logs. Continuity of care. I let her know like what parents need to bring things in, what things needed to be stopped in the morning. As the lead teacher, we had a full communication log that we did. And I would leave my notes every time I left so that my opener knew what to do, and that so my closer knew what to tell parents and what to ask for. She already knew, hey, let me go look at Carolyn's communication log to see if she has any messages for you. And this is way before the bright wheel, the smart care, the line leaders. I mean, this is old school communication. And so on my dry erase board, it had all my infants on there, when they needed to be changed, when they needed to be fed. So that communication was there. I also used to do something called infant grams, and I put on there what actual activity my infants got to do for that day. And it was an individual. My parents got a copy of their individual lesson plan. So in my infant room, I had 5 infants by myself because of the different age groups. And then each one of my infants were color coded. And so each one of them had their own color coded tape. That color code was all their things were color coded in that. That way, none of their things got mixed up. Even their binder with their lesson plans in it was color coded for them. That way, when they came in, I knew that the blue tape was for Johnny. The green tape was for Christy. The purple tape was for this, and a purple binder. And I even printed their things out on that color paper so that everything about that kid, their observations and everything was color coded in that, and nothing got confused. When parents brought in their belongings, I put a big piece of that colored tape on there, put their name, put the date on there, and put it into their colored bin. That way I always knew that the things that were in that bin was that kid's things. And so that part, that organizational part in my infant room was, and anybody will tell you, my infant teachers, even at the school, when I go into an infant room, I do not like to see clutter, stuff on top of the diaper changing table. A diaper changing table is a toilet. Do not put stuff on the toilet. And so that needs to be clean. Each kid needs to have their bucket. Everybody, things need to be inside of that bucket. We are I would definitely die. The lights should not be off because you have infants that are up and sleeping. The only infant room that the lights actually used to go off in is my older infant room from 12 to 17 months when they took a nap. We're not going to be drowsy all day. Wake up and do some activities. The babies, they need to sleep, birth to 6 weeks, 3 months or so for their brain development, but you need to stimulate them and keep them up. Why would I want to wake up in your classroom if you're not doing nothing with me? I'm going to do what I do. Sleep. My infants never slept. My parents loved me so much because when their infants went home, they slept all night because I kept them stimulated throughout the day. So I had individual lesson plans for my infants. And then based on that, I made the schedule, my schedule, around their schedule. I knew that I had to change a few kids at this time. I knew that this time was my time where I'm sitting on the floor. This was my feeding time for this kid. So I mapped out my day so that I can incorporate learning. I had my changing table activity. So right on the side of my changing table, I had a basket that had the activity, whether it was a puppet, because I was going to be working on da, while they were at the diaper changing table. Then whatever I was going to be doing after feeding, I had that on the counter with all their activities. I did things like, finger painting. Parents didn't want them to get messy. So what I used to do was take a piece of paper, put the paint inside of a Ziploc bag, close it, and I would take the baby's hands and let them do it inside of the Ziploc bag. And then I would transition them so that they could feel it on their hands and actually do different things. So when it came to infant activities, I don't care when you got them done, as long as you went home and the parents knew that they were going to get things done each day. So above each one of my cribs, I had a bulletin board, and it would document with pictures and activities of what that infant did for the day. So it may, for the week or the month or whatever it may be, it will be a recap of their lesson plan. And what one infant was doing, another infant was not doing. So when a parent came in, they felt personalized. Guys, I only had like 5 infants, and I set it up in a way that I was taking pictures, getting them printed, putting them up on a wall, and capturing those moments with my infants. So whoever came in my classroom actually knew how to follow my schedule. They were like, oh my God, we're going to go in that Carolyn's infant room. She don't play about her infant room. And I did not play about that. There was never a dull moment. I was up and moving and moving. And my mom is an expert infant teacher. So a lot of things I learned from her. And then a lot of things I was like, my infants are not going to act like that. My infants are going to be smart. And most of my infants that came from my classroom, I went to the toddler classroom, they could feed themselves. They can sit down like the older infant room. When they went to the 12 to 17-month-old room, they would sit down at a table. They knew their colors, their shapes, their numbers. I'm talking about at 12 to 13 months. If you told, they couldn't speak well, but if you told them, go get the color red, they could get up and go get the color red and bring it to you. Go get a triangle. They could go get a triangle and bring it to you. When they started talking, it was unbelievable. Like the parents were like, just one day they woke up and was like, hey mom, what's going on? That's how they were. Even my own kids was like that. They knew these things before they even start talking. So don't tell me that your infants cannot learn their color, shapes, and numbers and letters, because they can. Just because they can't articulate them doesn't mean that they don't know. How do you think your toddler knows how to do things that they don't know how to say? So in my classroom, when they were crawling on the floor, I had this color trail, and they were crawling like, oh, you're sitting on purple. Are you sitting on purple? Yes, this is purple. Oh, let's go over to red. And I would help them move over to red. And sooner or later, I had like 9-month-olds, and I'm like, go sit on the purple. And they would crawl over and sit right on that purple. Go sit on the pink. Go sit on the green. Go sit on the red. Because from the time that they came into my care, I had a strategic plan of capturing each moment of the day to teach them their basic skills. We did sign language. We did word cards to introduce them to different things. I had pictures of their mom, their dad, their grandmother that was on their crib, on the front of their crib. And so I would, mommy, daddy, and then I would ask them, what do you call your grandmother? That's Mimi. That is, Lala. That is Sugar Mama. And so they knew these things. Even my nephew, he doesn't speak a lot. He can speak, but he doesn't have a lot of words. He knows the whole brown bear, what do you see book. Like, in order. The colors, the everything in that book. And these are things that you have to be aware of when you're working in the infant program. So infants can learn too. They can learn too. You don't have to be just stuck on that changing, feeding, doing that. That drove me insane in the infant room. I came from a 3-year-old classroom and I'm like, these babies don't have no structure. I was like, we got to get this together. And the infant teacher that was in there when they put me in there, she did not like me. She was like, you make a mess. You make a mess. You come, you raw babies up. You raw baby up. I said, look, we're going to be teaching these kids and we're going to be having fun. And then by the end, she's like, Miss Carolyn, I have such good time in classroom with you. I have such good time in classroom. I hate that I'm moving up with the other ones. I wish I can stay with you. And I said, you can do the same thing in your classroom. And she's like, can you help me? I was like, yes, I can help you. And then we would do we would plan together. We would do, but she did not like it at first. She did not like that. She was like, no, I need to feed them. I got too much to do. I got to change them. And when I showed her how to plan the moments, is what I call it, planning the moments, plan with intention. When I taught her that part, she was all good from there. Yeah, exactly, Rebecca. Now, I used to be a co-franchisee at your brand school, Rebecca, and they like that. And when I would go in there, I would tell them, if I come in here and I see these lights off again, we're gonna have a huge problem. And then it got to the point where I just would go in and flip the switch. And then they would tell the director, and the director, and I said with the director, and I said, look, it doesn't matter. I know you want to calm, soothing, but the lights are not making them cry. It's the fact that the teachers are not stimulating them and keeping them excited. Sensory activities will help calm a baby down. If a baby is crying and you go over to the sink and start washing their hands and giving them sensory play, it triggers something in their brain and it makes them, they can't juggle the crying and being sad and be playing in sensory because it's happening on the same side of the brain, and their brain cannot manage to do both at the same time. So they will stop crying and they will just start looking around like what the heck is going on because their brain is kind of confused. So the more sensory play that you have, the more soothing that is for a baby, and that is how you get them to stop crying, not by being in the dark. Actually, you will mess up their eyes by being in the dark. That will mess up their eyesight and they won't be able to focus. They won't be able to see properly. And so that light needs to be on to stimulate them and help them to be able to see things. Showing them black, white, and red for their cognitive development. They cannot see those black, white, and red images if the lights are off. So it's really important that you get that. I know that I'm going to lose light here in just a second. I'm going to give me a little bit of light there. And so that is the infant care. So when we talk about these moments of physical development, I'm going to tell you guys to go over to my SPICE training that I have inside of the community, the Spice It Up training. And take a look at that because I talk about the different levels and different resources that you can use to find developmentally appropriate activities for your infants and toddlers in your classroom, and it should be planned out. Even if you have a curriculum at your school, you still need to map out your day in a moment's mindset. How am I going to actually implement? Because if you're thinking as an infant teacher that you are going to be able to lay down infants and put them all on the same schedule all together, you're not going to be able to do that. That is not going to happen. If you think that you are going to be able to get all these activities done in a week, I actually would give myself 2 weeks to implement a lesson plan for an infant. So I had 2 weeks to do this art activity. I may be able to do it a couple times. I may even have two on there, one for 1 week, one for the next week. Why? Because you have to be realistic as an infant teacher. You have to be able to understand that you're working on 5 different schedules, 5 different temperaments, 4 different attitudes, 4 different situations. And so you have to plan according to that. And so when you are in your classroom and you're looking at your day and the age group that you have to look at infant number one and say, hey, this child is, 3 months. They're going to be sleep. This is their sleeping schedule. All right. So at what point am I going to wake them up and have them engage in an activity? Well, when I feed them, they stay up for a little bit. So as I feed them, I may burp them and get them right into an activity before they fall asleep. I'm going to sing to them and put them in a chair and maybe read them a book. Even though they may be drowsy, take them out of the crib and actually hold them and read them the book. And you're like, well, I'm changing diapers all day. It's just like nonstop. Then you need to get a better schedule. If you're an infant teacher and you're running around and you're changing diapers all day and it's feeding that seems chaotic, that means your schedule is all wrong. That means that you need to get infants on a better schedule and retrain them. You're like, but I have 2 kids that eat at 10 o'clock. Well, one of them can hold out, but they're crying. Feed the crying one first. And the one that's not crying, feed them second. Well, one starts crying while I'm feeding. Sing to them. Talk to them. Oh, you're going to be next. You're going to be next. And the more you train them to hold out, then they're going to not wake up and cry at that exact time. They're going to stretch it out a little bit longer. You have to train your infants. And that's what like my boot camp is about. You have to train kids and infants. And if you're consistent with your training, then guess what? They're going to conform to whatever. Toddlers, preschoolers, if you are consistent, it takes 90 days to form a habit. Anybody knew that? A lot of people have a kid in their classroom for 2 weeks and they're like, they should have it by now. No, it takes 90 days at the least to form a habit. Number one, the first 30 days, you are just now learning what's going on. You're just practicing and learning. If you keep that up for 30 days consistently, the next 30 days is reinforcement, getting in your mindset, getting an understanding of what you need to tweak, what needs to happen in order to keep that consistent schedule. By the time the next 30 days come around, it has been written in you and you just do it just nonstop. That's how you form a habit. You just like brushing your teeth. People get up and go straight to the bathroom and that's a part of it's a habit. When they brush their teeth, if you brush your teeth before bed, it is a habit that you do that. You're like, no matter how tired you are, you're like, okay, let me go in here and brush my teeth before I lay down, because it's written into your DNA, basically. So the same thing with kids. It takes 30 days. You're going to teach them 30 days to reinforce it, and then 30 days doing that thing consistently for it to be in a child. So when you're working with younger infants, it takes time to build them on a consistent schedule. I have seen a 3-week plan. I've done a 3-week plan with infants where I would do stuff for 1 week. I would create the habit. I would reinforce it. And then that infant would be on schedule. And then by me keeping up with it that way, by the end of the month, they were set to go. The same thing with potty training. I've done that very quick. You just have to be consistent, but know that it can take up to 90 days to form a habit. So when you're looking at children behavior, if it hasn't been 90 days, you cannot really say. And if you have not been consistent, you can't really say that it's working or not working. That's how it works. And what I notice with infant teachers is that they'll try something that doesn't work and then they'll try something else. They don't stay consistent with it. And that is why our infants are struggling. Later and later, more and more infants are starting to walk. I remember when infants were walking by the time they were 12 months. Now we have 18-month-olds that are not walking, that are still crawling. We have kids that are not even crawling, and they're like 9, 10 months. Why? Because they don't have time outside of the crib. They don't have time outside of the high chair. They don't have time outside of the bouncer, and their physical development is being delayed because of lazy teachers and lazy parents. I mean, let's just call it what it is. We don't want them outside. Well, the older babies are going to step on them. Then let the older babies do an activity while you have the younger babies at tummy time. Like that's not hard. You don't need all those contraption devices. As a NACE accredited center, we did not have any bouncers or high chairs in our classroom. An infant that needed to eat had to be held to eat, and they sat at a table if they were able to sit up. We did not put them in any kind of contraption devices. When they were going to sleep, they can go in a crib, but if they were awake, they had to be out of that crib. Not just chilling there, just looking at a mobile, just laid back, just chilling. We didn't use any of those things. And as a teacher that worked in a NACE accredited center, if I can manage 5 infants without a high chair, bouncer, any kind of contraption device, you cannot tell me that a teacher with 2 teachers in a classroom and 5 and 6 infants cannot manage to keep those infants engaged and happy without putting them in a bouncer. They are full. What's full? Rebecca, I know I'm kind of delayed a little bit, but what's full? What's full? Oh, swings full of bouncers. Yeah, that keeps kids delayed. I wish they would make a rule to take them all away and make infant teachers be infant teachers. In Italy, Canada, some of those countries, they don't allow that in their classrooms. They are natural playscapes. And parents aren't like they don't encourage parents to use that. And ask yourself, well, they get away with it because it's not a licensing issue, or but if you're accredited, they're going to be like, no, ma'am. But brain development and physical development. See, when I ran my branded schools that you're in, I took them out and I gave them one. They had one swing and they had one bouncer, and then they had their 2 high chairs. The rest of that came out. Because if a child is in a swing, maybe you put them in a swing because, you had younger infants on the floor and you gave them activity inside of the swing. But I preferred them to use the high chair because the high chair they could actually put an activity in front of them and they could actually do an activity while the younger babies were on the floor. That's why I let them keep 2 high chairs and they had one bouncer and one swing. Then I took both of them out because I went by there and I saw a child in there for like 45 minutes just swinging. I'm like, no. I gave them the guidelines, I gave them the rules, and I told them if I saw them being breaking, I was taking them out. My infant rooms have activities. They have climbing, they have books, they have puppets, they have like all the things that they need to be down on the floor and doing activities. And I didn't play that. I don't even think we had an infant that had to be sitting in an upright position. After they were fed. And so I had to buy this little circle thing for him to sit in because he couldn't sit up and it would hold him up. That was the only thing that we had in our infant room. We didn't have a bouncer. Danielle in the comments used to be one of my infant teachers. She had to make it work. Now that is my classroom that would oversell, and parents wanted their infant in my program. Not only did I sell them care and love, but I sold them education, and I educated them on the importance of education. Well, Ms. Carolyn, I don't listen to me. Listen to me. You want your kid to experience these things because it's going to make them better. And they would fall for it every single time. And my infant teachers, it was hard for some of them at first, but I led by example. I showed them that this is a possibility and I checked on it. I did not just be like, oh, my infant teachers are doing what they're supposed to do. No, I went in there and I looked. I sat in there. I watched, what are we doing in here? What's going on? When I noticed that my infants were not going outside on a regular schedule, and I'm like, I ain't seen them go outside in a minute. What's going on? You go outside twice a day. Yes. And there was no, and this is why, this is why, a lot of things happen to infants in care. This is why so many things are happening to infants, because it makes me wonder, if you're not taking the time to do activities and stimulate the infants, that means that that infant has to be doing something. And what are they doing? My guess is sleeping. My guess, just rocking, bouncing. What else could they be doing? I want to challenge my infant teachers. I want you to just take a look at your schedule and look at your day. I want you to look at it in the morning. What are your infants doing in the morning? What are you doing? I would flip a gasket. I used to see infants. I had all infant rooms have to have a rocking chair in Texas. And I would go in and the infant teachers would be rocking. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm rocking. I'm rocking what? Oh, all the infants are sleeping. Okay, so why aren't you up prepping activities? Why aren't you up getting your diaper stuff together? Why aren't you up making room for when that first infant wakes up for an activity? How long have they been asleep? Is it time for one of them to wake up so that you can go ahead and start your changing cycle? I'm confused why you're sitting and rocking, because there's things to be done in this infant classroom. And this is because, and I'm going to say this, there's just not enough infant training out there. There's just not enough. We pick infant teachers because they're loving and they're nurturing, but we forget to train them on the main thing, and that is brain development. We forget to train them on that. We forget to tell them what else they need to do besides feed them, console them, and change them, and let them sleep. That's the basics. We forget that piece of the puzzle. Then we wonder why, like, oh, but the infants are so happy. Yeah, they're happy and their brain is mush mush. They're happy and can't walk. They're happy and they can't crawl. They're happy and they can't understand nothing. They're just standing there looking at you. These are the things. Or you have parents that are already showing their infants YouTube or showing their infants how to watch TV, and their eyes are just like, overly stimulated. That's how we have so many kids with ADD and ADHD. No kind of physical outlet, no brain training, no brain development, no stimulation, none of that in our infant care programs. Now, are there some out there that are doing amazing jobs and rocking it? Yes, but majority of them are not. And I hear it all the time. Oh, my preschool teachers need training because they're having discipline problems. You know why your preschool teachers having discipline problems? You know why your toddler teachers are struggling? Because your infant teachers aren't doing anything. They're not training them properly. So when they get to the toddler classroom, they don't know no better. When they get to the preschool classroom, 3 years later, they sure don't know no better. But it starts in your infant program. And if we put our attention, there's just so many resources for preschool teachers out there. And even nowadays, a little bit more for toddler teachers. A lot of moms are putting things out there for things that they've done at home with their toddlers, stay at home. But you don't see a very big infant community of infant teachers. And my thing is that if you build a house on a shaky foundation, that mess is going to blow down. And we're trying to build education on a non-solid foundation. Good luck, toddler teachers. Good luck, preschool teachers. But if your infant teachers were trained to do what they're supposed to do, then it would be much easier. Then we take preschool as a whole, they making the whole foundation rocky, and then they go to public school and then crash and burn. Guys, we have to get back into developing our infant programs, our infant teachers, because infants can learn too. They can. All right, let's drop some questions in the comment section. I don't know if I have a lot of infant teachers on today. I'm going to pull some stuff up for you guys. Questions, comments. I'm gonna get something for my mouse, because every time I'm like moving my mouth, it's making this weird okay. So my infant teachers, here we go. Let me scroll over. My infant teachers, I just wish so many more infant toddler teachers were on here today. I just really wish that okay, I'm gonna pull this up. That's what I wanted to get up for you guys. So yes, I really wish that more of our infant teachers were on here today, and that way they could really see and understand what's happening in childcare, what's happening in their classrooms. Start creating a plan for them. If you are not an infant teacher and you're on here and infant teachers, like, let's just try to get the word out in the community. Let's let other infant teachers know that we support infant teachers at Training to Succeed. We educate them. I want to do more training for infant teachers. I post in other director groups about infant teachers and infant specialties, because infant and toddler care is extremely important to me. Even though at heart I'm a preschool teacher, but I've also worked in infant and toddler programs, and I know what it's like to be in that classroom all day, and I know what it's like to not have a good schedule. I know what it's like to be bored and overwhelmed. Well, here's what you do, Rebecca. You tell your director, you say, hey, I know you're having a staff meeting this month, and I have someone that I want to introduce you to. And I think that we should bring her on a Zoom and let her just do a quick inspirational training for the staff. Like, she will volunteer her time. 10 minutes at a staff meeting if you guys have a staff meeting, and that's how you introduce, and then I get them into some of these hot topics and different things like that. So that's probably the best way to do it, or just like throw your director off guard, and just call me and be like, I'm on break, and be like, hey, I want you to meet Miss Carolyn. Can you believe she FaceTimed me today? And it's like, hi, director, how are you? I am very familiar with your curriculum and your activities. You want me to be training your staff because not only do I know the bloop, bloop, bloop way, I'm not going to say the name of the school, but not only do I know that way, but I actually trained a whole bunch of centers like you to make sure that their quality rating was high. So when they come in and do your audit, like, what level are you on the audit? So I used to do that. I used to go into all the classroom and make sure that you guys met the quality control for corporate. So if you want your school to be the best, I am the best trainer that you could have for this corporation, because I still actually run a school and oversee two programs in Florida, Clearwater area. So they're still a part of my family, and I still have to deal with them. And they're one of the best quality rated schools under the corporation. Been to Boca Raton a couple of times, and been to their main location and trained them to be able to do what they need to do. So this is why you want to have a great program, no matter what state you're in. All right, absolutely. So we'll plan that out, Rebecca. I'll get into your school some kind of way. So today, guys, I told you guys about our boot camp that is actually coming up in July, and I'm going to be dropping those dates. But we have two more things that we want to talk about. Let me tell you about the boot camp, the enlisting in the boot camp. The boot camp would actually start on it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The thing about the boot camp is it has two components to it. It has the training component, and then I would be live in the comment section during the actual broadcasting and the filming of this, where people can go in and ask questions. But the actual live community interaction is going to be outside of the training. The videos are pre-recorded, which we're still going to be able to answer questions. We're still going to have the chat group all day. But for my teachers who are enlistees and doing the free version, you are only going to be able to see the training for 24 hours, and then it'll go to the next day. For my people who upgrade to sergeant, you will have unlimited access to the trainings, the playbacks, the training certificates, the workbook that we're putting together for the boot camp, as well as our community, our group that is just going to talk about everything boot camp, and then introducing you to our 99-cent community. So you definitely want to pay attention to our Training to Succeed page, because we're going to have limited seats in this boot camp that is coming up. It is 100% virtual. I'm going to have different experts that are going to be on there, and I want to help as many teachers as possible. Those who want to upgrade can upgrade. Those who don't can just get the information and just apply it into their classroom. No, they won't get all the resources, but at least they will get the information. And when I put on a training, guys, I give 150%, sometimes 210%, probably 1,000% of information to the people that are coming, whether you're paying or you're not paying. So I'm super excited about that. That's coming up. I briefly went over our 99-cent community that it's going to be coming up. Yes, we're going to continue to go live in this, but we've been working a lot behind the scenes, and it is to be able to bring more services to you guys, to be able to do more things for you guys, to be able to do more giveaways, do more promotions. And so getting this studio together was so important, because we are going to be doing all types of lives, and not just from a hot topic standpoint, but that's why why I have my dry erase board and my workshop area over to the side, because that is where we're going to go, and we're going to be doing some workshops live on our Facebook page. Our goal in 2023 for the next 6 months, starting in June, is to do something every single day in our Training You to Succeed community, whether it is 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, these 2-hour hot topics, but to totally submerge. And it just takes some planning on the back end. And that's what we've been setting up and doing and building our team out so that we can continue to deliver workshops, teacher tips, and all of that. Our main thing that we are releasing, like I said, is going to be our new teacher membership, our teacher community, where we're going to be giving away so many resources, so much curriculum, so much information. So whether you are a teacher, you want to become a director, or you are a director, or you're an assistant director, whether you want to move up the ladder or you want to go across and open up your center, this community is going to be for you to be the best in this field. And I always tell teachers this: there's always a talented teacher that can make more money and provide more for her family. And that is what I want to be able to coach teachers to do, is to come outside of your comfort zone and share your expertise with the world. So like, Rebecca, let me tell you something. In your home, you will never be appreciated. Not your home that you live in. I'm talking about your home in your school. When I was at my school, the teachers did not respect me. My director didn't respect me like that. It wasn't until I went to the outside community that they started respecting me. And so when you're being featured on a live and I'm calling you up to the table and putting you on the hot seat and they're going to look at you and say, why is she being paid to give her expertise? And they're going to see you a little bit different. But my community is not going to see that. They're going to see you as a very informed teacher who they will pay to get information from. And so sometimes in your own home or where you're at, you don't get appreciated and you don't get respected, and that's okay, and that's great. That's just where you work at. But where you build your following and where you build your community is usually people who don't even know you, So I tell you this to say that you keep going and you keep pushing, and don't let that deter you. You capitalize, because I worked at a center where nobody really listened to me or liked me, and I was their lead training teacher. And I did what I did in my classroom. And guess what? I took pictures of it. I made my stuff. I put it online. I sold on Teacher Pay Teacher. And while they're sitting there being miserable, worried about what I'm doing and why am I the favorite staff and why I don't get in trouble and blah, 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 I was not only collecting my paycheck from that daycare center, but I was getting paid by other teachers who appreciated what I was doing in my classroom because they needed help. But the person who was right next door to me, my fellow 3-year-old teacher who was next door, didn't want anything because she was just like, you can do whatever you want to. I'm going to do this my way. Okay, that's fine. I was not respected in my own home. And to this day, now she's like all over my page on my lives asking me for advice. But when I was in the house with her, she didn't respect that. Now she wants a whole bunch of free advice, and I tell her, no, I'm not, no, you're going to have to pay to come to my trainings. I'm not going to sit here and have a one-on-one training with you. And mind you, she's still a 3-year-old teacher. And there's nothing wrong with that. So be it. But I was wanting to build with her and help her to become better and give her so many ideas, and she didn't want to receive it. But that is people's choice. There are going to be some people that don't receive what you have to say. Your director, your franchisee, your corporate district manager, your franchisee district manager, all of those people are not going to respect you where you're at. But when you grow and you glow, people will give you all your glory and all your jewels. So I tell you this, you just keep on pushing and going, and you're going to get your spotlight. And you showing up consistently really speaks to my heart. I mean, I know a lot of people go back and watch this, but you're always live. You're always here. And when you're consistent and you're passionate about different things, that is when, doors open up for you. And people see you for what you do and what you have. And then all of a sudden they're like, why did she get picked to be on this? Why did she see this? Or why did she have that? And then boom, all this work that you've been doing in your classroom is going to go appreciated, not just by your parents, but by the whole entire organization, the whole entire world. And that's how things happen. Okay, I have a question. Sensory activities for infants. Can you please give some more examples of those? Okay, sensory activities for your infants. Remember, sensory is anything that heightens your infant. So I used to love just like baby food play. And so I don't know if you guys can use baby food or anything like that. So like whatever was left over, I would let them finger paint with that. I would put gel and glitter inside of a Ziploc bag, and I would actually tape it down to the tray on their high chair and let them roll their hands over it and play. I also did sensory buckets. I'm going to show you guys one of the sensory buckets that I actually use for infants. I'm sorry. They sell these on Amazon, and then I got this one from Lakeshore. They come in colors, but it's really thin, and I would put different things in here. I would put shaving cream in here, whipped cream. Actually, for my infants, I used to use whipped cream with a little bit of food coloring, and then they would play, and then I would just take their hands and let them mush it around, and then I would take their hand and just like place it on a white piece of paper and let it dry. I used to make fluff with them. Fluff is made with cornstarch. Well, obele is what they call it now. We used to call it fluff. Cornstarch, water to make it kind of droopy for them to be able to play with and explore with inside of the sensory box. I would even do like just like really lukewarm water with a little bit of food color in there for them to like splash around, but not like a lot, just like a little bit, just for them to get that splash in there. So that is like a sensory activity. I would also do sensory bottles for them so that when they move them, they had like the motion, which would be like baby oil, glitter, and water for them to be able to do sensory bottles. So anything, and think about senses, it is hearing. So I would do sound jars. So like I would put like different objects in there, like a little bell, a button, and then I would have them shake it, and then I would be like, which sound is this? And then I would have cards and I would have them match it. So that was like a hearing sensory game. I would also do like the see and say, and then I would pull it and let them listen to the sound, and then I would put like a picture of what the object was that I was actually playing in front of them and have them point it, and then I would actually show them another card and put the wrong sound on there. I was like, ooh, does that sound like a goat? So the see and say helps me out with a lot of sensory activities. And so then I did like taste and smell, and so I would make like little I have a hard time saying this word, extract. And so I would get vanilla extract and put it on a cotton ball and put it in a salt and pepper shaker. I would get another cotton ball and I would put lemon on it and put it in a plastic salt and pepper shaker. And then I would do all the different smells inside of these salt and pepper shakers. And then I would let the infant smell it. And then I would show them a picture as to what it was that they were actually smelling. So these are, I told you guys it was going to get, after hour play in here. So those are just a few sensory activities to kind of help with your infant program. So when you think about senses, think about smell, taste, visual, hearing, and touch. And so anything that heightens those things, heighten their hearing and being able to listen to different sounds, being able to see, like anything that's colorful and you're connected to color, that is a sensory activity. Anything that they smell, anything that they can taste, and anything that they can feel is all sensory development. So maybe one week you may use your tub and put one day of the week you may have different things inside of your tub. Maybe the next one you work on like hearing, and so doing different sounds and recognize different sounds in the environment. Maybe you work on smelling. Maybe you'll work on taste and taste bugs, and when you're feeding them, talking about the different tastes that they may taste. Ooh, is that sour? Is that sweet? Give them something sour. Give them something sweet. Give them something that maybe a little bitter. And so you're working on developing and heightening all of their senses. And that depends on allergy. When it comes to taste and stuff, you want to be very careful and make sure that you send home a taste card and make sure that you list out the things that you're going to have the mid-infants and older infants tasting to recognize the different taste bugs. Pasta play, when you do the colored pasta and let them play with that, that is great. Sand, they even have the quicksand, or they have the edible sand that they sell at Hobby Lobby that people use like on cakes and stuff. They have like that edible sand texture. You can, put that in there just in case if you put it in his mouth. Edible Play-Doh there's a recipe for that. It's microwavable Play-Doh, and it is the best Play-Doh ever. It is like soft and it lasts for a long time. And if you're like the infants don't like the texture, you can always put those things in a Ziploc bag and then tape the Ziploc bag to I don't have a Ziploc bag, but let's just say this is the high chair, and then this is the Ziploc bag with the Play-Doh in it. You just kind of tape it to the top of the high chair with like masking tape or with packing tape, and then the infant can press the Play-Doh and move it around inside of the plastic bag. And so I would do like sensory bags like that, taped to the table, taped to the high chair all the time, and even sometimes to the side of the wall so that they can walk up or crawl up and kind of play with gel and glitter and different things like that on the wall. So anything that's going to stimulate their brain. Running water, going over to the sink and having them wash their hands under the water is an amazing calming activity. When kids used to cry in the morning, I'm like, come on, baby, come over and wash your hands. I don't want to wash my hands. Ooh, but I have some fun fluffy soap over there, and it's going to change the color. Let's go see what color the soap would be. And inside of my apron, I would have like a drop of food color and a dropper, and I would drop it into the soap, and it would just like be magical. Or I'll put glitter like pixie dust in there when they wash their hands and put it up under the water. And I mean, not enough to stain their hands, but just enough for them to be like, ooh, the soap is magical. So just different things like that are amazing sensory activities. I hope that actually helped you. I think Tia. So those are a few sensory activities for them. So we talked about the boot camp. We talked about our 99-cent community that's coming up. The new schedule, we're going to be putting out a new schedule, a new live schedule for you guys, and different things with our community and how we're going to be supporting you guys in the future. All of our workshops, again, will be posted here as well. Now, I do want to show you guys something, and if you're on here now, this is going to be a treat because this has not been released as of yet. And you are going to hold on one second, be very excited about this with Training You to Succeed. Again, this is coming soon, and everyone who's on here now is going to know a secret that we have here at Training You to Succeed and what we've been working on behind the scenes. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something. Give me a second. All right. Are you guys ready for this? I want to see some fire in the comment section. I want to see some excitement because I'm letting you guys in on this secret. Who wants to see? Oh, no problem. And also, Tio, I'm gonna tell you this. I can post some sensory activities in here. Just pay attention. Danielle, can you make note of that? Because we can pull some things from the Adventures in Learning Adventures in Learning curriculum, and we can post some activity cards, not just for infants and toddlers, for our travelers program. And that's what I'll do. I'll post the unit for free in our group, like unit 1. I'll put it together, and then you'll make a note of that, and we can have that out by next week that we can share with this community. And we'll make sure that you get Tio's name, and then Tio, if you would private message me on Facebook and send me your email address, and I'll make sure to add you to that traveler's activity cards. That way you have infant sensory activities, language activities, cognitive activities, and all of that for your infant. It will be posted on our Facebook page, and if you private message me your email, I'll send you an email as well once we get it posted. All right, so fire in the comments, fire in the comments, fire in the comments. So we have some drawings going away for when we launch this. We're going to be giving away a Cricut machine for some classroom, along with some Cricut activities. If you don't know what a Cricut is, it will cut out your letters. It'll cut out, different die cuts for you. So not only are we going to be giving away the Cricut machine, we are going to be giving away some fun t-shirts, some tickets to our event, some other fun teacher things. How many of you guys got to actually use the gift card that I posted for teacher appreciation? And here we go. Let's see if it's gonna actually come. Oh, there it is. Oh, hello. We are going to be launching Teachertopia, our new teacher supply and t-shirt. You guys, it's still in the works. We still haven't added our products in there, but we're gonna have teacher tees, teacher style, swag, classroom supplies, curriculum is gonna land here. Our events and our supplies, you're gonna be able to use your Sazzle. If you don't know what Sazzle is, your payment plan. So if we have a conference that you're like, oh my God, I really want to go to it, or an event and you're like, I just can't really, afford that, you will be able to finance some of our things that are going on. We will have gift cards and more. It has our Instagram feed that is on here as well. And let's go over here. And then I want you guys to it has like a little picture of me. Of course, I love you guys. And it tells you a little bit about Teachertopia. It's where the magic and teaching comes together. And then you guys can meet my wonderful team. This is Danielle that you guys see inside of the comments. This is Deborah, my mom. This is Miss LaKoya. She is also an amazing top-led teacher. And this is our Teachertopia Training to Succeed team, who makes all things possible behind the scenes. As we have so much that we're building out, and we're going to be launching this. It's going to be a surprise launch coming up real soon in the month of June. It's going to tell you how to become a Sparklecator. A Sparklecator is an early educator that Sparkle, and we want to make sure that you have all the resources that you need. And so down here, it tells you, hey, here's how you become a Sparklecator and become a Sparklecator. You're going to be able to join here and become a member of our Sparklecator community. Guys, I don't know why I was so excited about this, but I am extremely excited about launching our Teachertopia world. And in the Teachertopia world, we only have Sparklecators that live there, and that is educators who actually sparkle in their childcare. Yes, the shirts are fun. And then I kind of showed you guys when I did our overview, this right here, over here in the corner, those are a pair of tennis shoes, Hey Girl tennis shoes, that are teacher tennis shoes that are over there. So we are getting it set up so that when we go live with our Teachertopia, we have shirts that we have here. Again, one of these shirts, it says teaching only the strong. I've had this shirt. I don't even know how many we have left in stock, but it is a great shirt to wear to our boot camp. We want to make sure that we cover teachers from your dress to your education to your resources, everything. So when you think of training you to succeed, you're like, I get everything in my teacher world from training you to succeed. And that's what we want to be here for. So you guys got to get the sneak peek. We have not even released that. I said today, not only was I going to give you guys a tour of the office, but you got the tour of the office. Infants Can Learn to training. You guys received information about our upcoming boot camp. You got information about upgrading to sergeant, the things that are going to be coming with Training You to Succeed, and also a sneak peek at Teachertopia, which is a place where teachers live in absolute bliss and can actually do the things that they love in their classroom. So, golly, that is a great name for a training. Teachertopia, early childhood training. Oh my God, I'm so excited. All right, so we might have to put that one on the books and get a whole Teachertopia community going. So welcome to Teachertopia, where we have all our world class sparklecators that are in the early childhood field that are coming together to learn amazing things from training you to succeed. And again, if you know an infant teacher, just tag them in the comments and get them on this training so that they can hear some of the pointers that we actually dropped today on being an amazing teacher, an amazing infant teacher. Again, I am going to post that unit 1 for our travelers that has all those activities that are in there, that even has a lesson plan sheet so that you can plan out an individual day. So if you're at a school that doesn't have an infant curriculum, or you know someone who owns a daycare or have a center that doesn't have an infant curriculum, bring them over to Training You to Succeed, and we're going to be giving this information away to you guys so that you guys have support in the classroom. So Danielle's going to make note that we're going to give you guys unit 1 of the travelers curriculum, and this is our infant curriculum that we have, and it has 6 units, and so we're going to give for free in this community unit 1 for our infant learn to. And what I'll do is I'll put the PDF version of it together and drop it into our community before Friday, and that way you guys can print it, have a copy of it, and use it in your programs. And feel free to share it with anyone you need to share it with, because we want to make sure that we are sharing what we're doing in the infant classroom with everyone in the early childhood community. All right. Any more questions? Any more infant questions in the comments, or suggestions or ideas if you're an infant teacher that infants can take back to their classroom? And guys, this is just a hot topic. I do have a full out infants can learn to course that you can actually take, which is like a 4-hour sessions on infants. Yes, go ahead. We have some. I love questions, by the way. So if you guys have questions, I am here for the questions. Okay. Basic skills for infants would be our SPICE: social development, physical development, intellectual, which is better known as cognitive development, communication, and emotional development. So those are the basic whole child development skills that your infants need. So you want to make sure that you're teaching social skills to your infants, how to interact with you, make eye contact, conversational skills. You want to make sure that you're having fine motor and gross motor activities each day. And the way you teach those is by capturing the moment. So whenever I started the training before, I talked about taking your day and saying, hey, what am I going to go over at the diaper changing table? You may go over communication skills, and you may go over emotional development skills. So you may be talking to your baby. Oh, I see that you're smiling and that you are happy. Happy face. Or you may be there and you may talk about colors that are on a mobile. So the way you teach them is by capturing the moments in your environment. And so those basic skills that infants need to know are that whole child development. And the way you teach them is by capturing the moments, whether you are feeding them. A feeding time could be a sensory activity. A feeding time could be a communication activity. And what you want to do is take all of that spice and you want to incorporate it into your daily flow. And like Rebecca says, when you're at the diaper changing, making something into a song that is teaching them. When they're down on the floor and they're crawling around, place things that are on the floor that are pictures of different animals, color, shapes, so that when they're down there exploring and crawling, you're talking about those things in the environment. And one of the things that I'm going to reiterate is that infants learn more from their environment and natural settings, and their brain kind of absorbs all of that even before they're able to talk. So if you have a 3 month old, 4 month old, 5 month old, 6 month old, 7 month old, 8 month, and you're constantly immersing them in their environment, talking about color, shapes, numbers, mommy, daddy, using all these words, by the time they're 9, 10 months, you can actually tell them, go over to the purple, and they'll sit on the purple. Grab that bottle, and they'll grab the bottle because they know exactly what it is. Hold your bottle, do this, do that. And so that is how you teach those basic skills. And we do have in our spice training, Tio, a guide to the PA keys, as well as our infant development guide. And what I'll do, Danielle, if you can go over to the spice training on our Facebook page and take the comment where I put the link to the early childhood guides that have the child development things in there, and put it in this comment, I would greatly appreciate it. It's under our spice training, which is further down our page, but in the comments I put a link to the Texas learning guides, and I put a link to the PA keys. And if you take the time to read what your infant is supposed to know at their particular age group, you can develop activities to support what they need to know. So if your infant needs to learn, should be sitting up by a certain age, then what you're going to do is you're going to sit them on the floor and take some soft blocks and prop their back up, and then have them like wiggle their back and hold your hand, and you're going to let them go. So when you know what your infants are supposed to know at that particular age group, it is easy to develop lesson plans and activities in those spice areas to be able to teach them. So I'm going to have Danielle go to our spice training and find that those two guides for you, Theo, to kind of help you with understanding what they need to know. Yes, that is a very important resource to have, to actually know, hey, my kid is 9 months. What is my child supposed to know and be doing at 9 months? My infants are, 8 months. What are they supposed to know and be doing at 8 months? Because if you don't know what they're supposed to know, how can you actually teach them the basic skills that they actually need to learn and know? And when we talk about spice, there are certain things in the social, emotional, cognitive, communication, emotional, like all of those areas, there are specific things that kids should be doing in those areas. And that guide is going to help you to be able to understand where your infant is supposed to be so that you can develop activities for them. I hope that that was helpful, Tia, but feel free to keep going. I mean, we go into 11 o'clock. We have like 20 minutes left. So you guys can drop as many questions as you need to. And I am all here for answering all the questions. And if you guys were wondering what SPICE was, it is social, physical, intellectual, communication, and emotional. Danielle put it in the chat. So when you're looking up social skills for infants in that particular age group, physical skills, intellectual skills are also known as cognitive skills. Communication is also learned as language development. And then you have emotional development. And Rebecca, she understands the importance of singing with the baby, talking with the babies, playing with the babies, and interacting with them. And you want it to be fun, but remember, learning is fun, but you have to be intentional with it. You still have to teach something. And so even in the songs, what are you doing with this song? What are you teaching with this song? When you're playing this game, what are you actually playing this game for? What is the outcome? And so the fact that she even did that with the infants goes a long ways, because you have so many infant teachers that don't even talk to the infants, they don't play with the infants, and they don't sing with the infants. Okay, Danielle posted the event there, but Danielle, can you go in the comments of that actual event and pull over the resource guide for me? So in the comments, you will see where I put the link to the Texas the Texas learning standards, and then there's another link to the Pennsylvania keys. Those are two of my best resources that I have for that. All right. Any more questions? Any more questions? And my infant teachers that are on here, if I have infant teachers that are on here, and you have ideas that you did in your infant classroom, I know Rebecca was dropping, singing and actually interacting and bonding and playing with the baby. She dropped that in the comments. So if you guys have things that you are doing with your infants, go ahead and drop them in the comments and share them with your fellow infant teachers. I know that Deborah has been an infant teacher for a long time, and there's things that she did in the infant room that helped her to be able to get her activities and her curriculum done, even though she was busy. Deborah, go ahead and drop some of your tips in the comments as well, so that our infant teachers can pick up on some of those wonderful things. Being a part of our community is not just about me delivering the word, it's about us learning from each other. I have people that come on lives that share their ideas, and I'm like, wow, I never thought about that. And I love learning myself. So I still go to trainings. I still see what's out there. I'm not amused with a lot of trainings that are out there and being bored to death, but I still go and I still learn. So you always want to stay educated and keep yourself aware. Executive function learning is really big out there. I actually am going to be on a training this month talking about executive function for toddlers, and I will be sharing that information. That community is very big, and I am super excited about sharing my expertise on that conference. And so I'll be sharing the information in the link so that you guys can get registered for that this month. That's from pre-K pages. I can say that right. Pre-K pages. They're having a huge conference this month, and I would love for my community to be a part of that. And I'll be sharing all the information with pre-K from the pre-K pages registration with you guys. Yes, it is very boring at times. And so I plan on doing this whole TikTok where it's like a different type of trainer. The PowerPoint trainer, the trainer that only talks like this, the trainer who has never worked in childcare but has all the wonderful ideas and suggestions, the trainer that is hype man, you can do it, but doesn't teach you anything. And so like all these different types of trainers that are out there, and I was like, oh my god, I need to do a TikTok on like your trainer. Which one of these is your trainer? And so you go to all these conferences and you see all these different things, and it is hilarious. And I'm like, just teach me something, please. Just teach me something. And then if you're teaching me something, make sure the research that you actually give me is actually applicable. And I can actually do it in the classroom, because I know you think it's a great idea, but have you actually tried it? And so that is the problem that we're having in today's training world. Oh, her babies love doing circle time, bringing them together and singing. And you can do circle time with your babies. If they're all awake, or the ones that are awake, bring them down to the floor, especially if you have like the mid-age infants, like the ones who are like 6 to 9 months. They love it. You can work on so many skills in their circle time. And so like Rebecca's laughing at me. Yeah, I'm a whole character when it comes to training. Yes, you can go a little off topic for a minute. Of course. It's a hot topic. We talk about things that are hot. I'm going to wait for your question in the comments, and then I'll bring it over to the thing. I know I'm going to give you time to type. I'm gonna go and get ready for my daughter's graduation in just a second here. I'm super excited to see her finally cross. Did you send me videos of your space? Hold on one second, Rebecca. I could have swore I sent you a video of your... Did you send me another one from the original one? Let me go to our comment. Because I made you a video about your space. Oh, it said it was too big to send. Oh my goodness. It's, oh my God. Okay, so let me break this video down into chunks and send you back the feedback. As a matter of fact, what I'll do is one for each video instead of trying to do it as one, because I see it's in here and it never posted to you. Okay, let me break that down today, Rebecca, and get that back to you. No, that's not off topic. I see the video and it said that my video was too long to post, and so it has a red circle by it. So let me break that down. So what she's talking about is that we did a classroom organization training a couple of weeks ago, and we actually talked about I told you guys if you sent me videos of your classroom, I would give you feedback on the organization. And she sent me quite a few videos, and I did a long video about her organization. And so what I'm going to do, Rebecca, is I'm going to go and I'm going to reply to each video that you sent me, as opposed to making you one long video about the whole entire classroom. And so I thought it was short enough to send to you, but obviously it was too big to send to you. Okay, Danielle dropped those links inside of the comments. No, it wasn't a lot. No, you just had like multiple videos. It wasn't a lot. It was like, actually very well. But I just gave you some suggestions on how to keep some of those things that you had in the cabinet done. So for that one, the stories live, I will be doing a rebroadcast of that topic. Let's see what we have coming up, guys. I see. Hold on one second, and I can tell you when the stories live can be rebroadcast. When I can redo the stories live. Hold on one second. So instead of our Thursday tips that we're going to do, Danielle, make a note that Thursday we're going to go live with the rebroadcast of the storytelling live. And so with the books and the stories. And so we're going to do that on this Thursday. We have our regular hot topic on Tuesday. And so we will do a rebroadcast on Thursday for, on Thursday, June 1st for Stories Live, and we will go live at 7 o'clock. You can just come back here, Tio, and you'll be able to participate in our Stories Live. So we're going to do our regular hot topic on Tuesday and our Stories Live on Thursday, June 1st. And that's going to be at 7 o'clock in the evening. And that'll be really good because we're going to also launch our registration for our boot camp that day. So that'll be perfect to do the Stories Live. All right, and then I'll post that so that you guys can see it in the group that we're going to go live that day. You don't even have to worry about registering for it, because if you just hop on this page, we'll be live, and then we'll go back and put the links to the hot topics in there. If you want to go ahead and take the hot topic quiz, I can tell you guys that our hot topic quiz section will be opening back up next week. We moved some stuff around in it, and so some of the stuff wasn't available, but now it actually is for you guys to go take the quiz and get your certificate. So I will be posting about that on Tuesday to let you guys know the link to the hot topics, and so that you can go in and get in. And after Tuesday, if you're having problems with any hot topic links, just let me know, and then we will revamp it and get it all out together. All right. Any questions? Thank you, Tio. Anytime. Yes, we will definitely get that rebroadcast for you. All right. Once again, thank you. And if you have additional questions, I do still check comments, even though I'm not live anymore. I do check them. Rebecca, I will get back to you. Tio, if you have any more questions, or if anyone on this live has anything that they need, let me know. Danielle has a list of things that we're going to be getting out for this week for you guys, including the curriculum, another hot topic. We have some teacher tips that are going to actually be coming out to you guys. So just stay tuned, stay interactive with our page, because this is your teacher spot. This is your Teachertopia. This is the place where you're going to get everything that you need for your classroom, for your students, for your parents, and for being a better early childhood professional yourself. Again, welcome, 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 welcome to my office and studio. And have an amazing weekend. And thank you for spending your Saturday morning with us on this hot topic. Bye bye.